Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Brent Jones. I reside at 2018 245th Avenue Southeast in Sammamish. I'm a resident and participate in the Sammamish Plateau Water and Sewer District. My background is from about 2001 through about 2006. I was on the Issaquah Rivers and Stream Board, and I'm also a practicing licensed geologic engineer here in the Northwest, and I've been doing geology and geology-related consulting since 1990. The current plans kind of caught me by surprise. Gail brought it to my attention about 3 weeks ago, so I don't have a policy presentation for you, but what I wanted to bring to your attention is that as a member of the Issaquah Rivers and Stream Board back in 2001, working up through about 2006, that this issue was front and present for a lot of the time that we were looking at the projects here in the here in Issaquah. And one of the critical factors that I think has kind of started the snowball of where we are today was that the developer at the Issaquah Highlands, as part of the two-party agreement, was required to infiltrate water up on top of the Issaquah Highlands when they were starting the build-out. At that time, this is 2000, 2001, they were having problems with infiltrating the groundwater at that time. They weren't achieving the requirements of the two-party agreement as part of the development, and so they were looking at ways to supplement what they were going to do with the water. And our recommendation on the board at that time was that they take more time and they study it, and they look at trying to find alternatives at the top of the plateau for infiltrating the water. And I think some of you were on the board back then or remember the slide that happened, that they closed westbound I-90, and that was because there was an engineering failure of a water protection system that failed partially due to the infiltrating water that wasn't going downward. It was heading along the foreset beds that are up there that dip to the south and the east. So they got the developer got that under control and came up with some alternative plans and looked at wanting to move some of that water, not all of it, continue to use the infiltration system that's up on top of the plateau, but also move that down to the lower reed. And at that time, I started looking at the monitoring reports that were being presented by the consultant for the developer at that time. And there were some indications back in 2001, 2, or 3 that there were water quality issues even before they started infiltrating the system down at the lower reed property. So they continued to pursue infiltrating the lower reed, and again, because it wasn't infiltrating the capacity they wanted at the size of the infiltration system, they looked at expanding the lower reed and then also connecting a bypass into North Fork of the Issaquah Creek. And I think what's happened since that time is they're having difficulty infiltrating, and we're seeing that the water that they are infiltrating down below is not treated to the conditions that you need it to be before it hits the lower Issaquah Valley Aquifer. So I think the board or the council and the mayor have a great resource that they can rely on. That's the Rivers and Stream Board. I think there's other boards as well within the city that, if taken the appropriate amount of time right now, and you look in detail at this situation, that there's likely, you know, one of these alternatives that's probably better than the other alternatives, of which I personally think maybe pre-treatment and looking at infiltrating more up where the original design was on the top of the plateau, which gives you an additional 100 feet of infiltration and treatment. That coupled with a water treatment system is probably an alternative that might satisfy the infiltrating system and give you the opportunity to continue on with the stormwater system up there and adding other developments. So thank you.
Thank you.